This particular unit deals with what we call the business cycle. A business cycle basically tells us the ups and downs of the economy and how it's going, if you will. At any particular time, if we take a look at our GDP, gross domestic product, over time, we should see a fairly linear, a straight or linear line, if you will. We're going to call this potential GDP, which is going to be represented by this highlighted line, if you will. But any given year or any given group of years, our GDP can be higher or lower than our potential GDP. In some years, our GDP can be above our potential GDP, and we are said to have a positive GDP gap, which means that we're producing more than what we actually should. We'll take a look about that in a little while. And in some years, like the years we've just gone through since 2008, we have areas that are below our GDP. And we call these a negative GDP gap, where perhaps companies are not supplying enough. There's a lot of reasons for this cyclical action that we have. But the one that haunts us, the one that stays with us throughout, is that the reason we give for that is that it's due to the level of spending. If people are spending money, our GDP will be high. People are spending money, that means that they have jobs. If they have jobs, they're spending money, companies are providing products. If they don't spend, companies won't provide the products, and our GDP will then slip, people will become laid off. To that end, we want to take a look at the categories of unemployment that occur in this particular area of our GDP, of our business cycle. The first category of GDP, unemployment, is called frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment is unemployment that is transient. Some of you probably will be getting ready to graduate, maybe next year, I don't know. And it's conceivable that when you do graduate, you will not have a job to immediately go to. Another situation, that is considered to be frictional unemployment. Another situation is you may have a job that you absolutely hate. It's not the one you were trained for. You want to go into accounting and you're working as at Happy Harry's or Walgreens or something. Not that that's an inferior job, not that that's not a good job, but it's not the job that you want. It's not the job that you were paid to do. And therefore you go in and you quit without having another job to go to until you find the job in accounting. That is considered to be frictional unemployment. Cyclical structural unemployment is that unemployment that is caused because of a change in technology. A change in computers, the cell phones. We used to have a thing called slide rulers where you would be able to do high mathematical computations, high logarithms, very complex. We no longer have slide rulers, and the reason we don't is because we now have calculators that can do that. So all those people that made slide rulers had to go out and had to find other jobs, perhaps making calculators. Perhaps they went back to school for real estate, education. Some of them, could have gone into construction work, whatever. Cyclical unemployment is unemployment that is caused because of this downturn in the business cycle, where businesses are not producing. And because of that, we now have what is called our natural rate of unemployment. Our natural rate of unemployment is the total of our frictional unemployment and our structural unemployment, when cyclical unemployment is zero. This morning coming into the university here, I heard that our unemployment rate was 8.8%. Well, at any given day, we should have 4% of unemployment because of our natural rate, the total of our frictional and structural. So therefore, our actual unemployment rate is actually only 4.8%. That is due to cyclical. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge amount when you think of the lost product. Not only lost product, but lost productivity. There's a direct correlation between crime, domestic violence, suicide, when we have high rates of unemployment like this. So this is our natural rate of unemployment. The total amount of our frictional and our structural and our cyclical is zero. What we need to take a look at is an effect of either a positive GDP gap or a negative GDP gap. And that is called inflation. Inflation, by definition, is a continual increase in the price of all goods, if you will. It's like a thief coming in at the night. You take your pants off at night, you take 15 cents, 18 cents, put it on the dresser, and you get up the next morning and it's gone. You think, oh, gee, I just mislaid it, what have you. The next night you get up, you take your pants off, you put 28 cents on the dresser, and you wake up and it's gone. That's inflation. Inflation is a little thief that comes in through the night and steals your money. We have two causes of inflation. The first one is called demand pull inflation. This is also known as too much money chasing too few goods. What happens with this is that if businesses are experiencing high volumes, people are spending and spending and spending, and we have our GDP, we'll say at GDP star. At any given day, we can only produce this many goods and services because of our limited resources. And therefore, we're producing here. Well, we should always have 4% of the people who are frictionally or structurally unemployed. Businesses are experiencing high volume, and therefore they need people to work. Well, the only way to get these people who are frictionally and structurally unemployed, specifically frictionally unemployed, back to work is to pay them more money. Now they should have zero income, and not only do they not have zero income, they have the income that they had, plus they have the extra incentive to keep them working for them. And therefore the demand curve increases from D to D prime, and because of the vertical nature of our supply curve, because we can't provide any more than S prime goods, the only thing that increases is our price level. We're not getting any more goods, but our price level has gone up. That's why we call this too much money chasing too few goods. In this particular situation, we have what is called cost push inflation, which is supply side inflation. Supply side inflation is basically an increase in the price of resources, whether domestic or foreign. We're seeing an increase in gasoline, an increase in oil. This will have a direct effect. We already saw that prices of corn are going up. We already saw the prices of beef are going up. And this will continue as long as oil continues to be as high as it is. And therefore, what will happen is the supply, again, we are at GD star, which is full employment. We can only produce this much today, and we are at a price level of PL. Because of the increase in the price of resources, the supply curve moves from S to S prime. We can still only produce this many goods today, but our price level goes up. Again, if you have any questions, concerns, issues, please put them on the discussion board page of Blackboard. I'll answer them. Email me individually, and I'll put that on there also. Thank you very much. Have a great day.